For more on the election, we're joined by Arturo Porzecanski. He's a distinguished economist in residence at the American University's School of International Service. Great to have you here with us at the desk. This election, we've talked about this before a number of times. So let me just start with a real simple question was this a surprise to you?
Yes, it was. Even though Marina Silva was falling in the polls and Aecio Neves was rising in the polls, the difference between the incumbent and him was much narrower than all the polls were suggesting.
Well, this brings up a good question. So the polls were essentially wrong, I suppose, because they moved so quickly towards the end. What explains that?
Evidently, people were making up their minds right up to the end or changing their minds right up to the end.
You think about the issue that the incumbent is under, the pressure she is under right now, which is essentially to turn the economy around. We all know that you can't turn the economy around in weeks or months. These are things that take years. We're now down to the two. What's going to be the main difference between those two?
Basically, I think it's the message, and mainly on the economy. This is a case of the economy stupid. Basically, Rousseff will speak about the dozen years that the Workers' Party has been in power and how much has been accomplished during that dozen years, and probably not emphasize too much about the last 4, which have been relatively disappointing. And Aecio Neves will probably point out that, Brazil could do so much better with more pro-business, market-friendly policies. So the economy will figure large in the debate.
I mean, I would argue that both probably are going to say they're pro-business at this point of the election because it's such a hot topic. What makes Neves different?
Well, Neves is not in favor of crony capitalism, and he's not in favor of a picking winners strategy. So he has more broad-based support in the business community. Basically, what the Workers' Party has done over the past dozen years is create a kind of a welfare state. They have been giving out a lot of money, either loans for companies that they believe in, or else money for poor people. And so to some extent, the battle for the vote will be the battle for those who pay taxes versus those who get subsidies.
If you look back at Brazil over the past year or two, it hasn't been that bad, right? You've got the Olympics coming up. You just hosted what some would argue a relatively successful World Cup. I mean, the whole entire world's attention was tuned into those cities that had the big matches. What went wrong?
Basically, the economy has not been growing for the past 2-3 years. It's not at a bad place in terms of unemployment. The unemployment rate is at a historic low. But it is a bad place in terms of inflation and also public services. In general, whether it's highways or airports, schools, hospitals, the quality of public services has deteriorated.
But so here's the bigger question is that Rousseff's fault? I mean, how much blame falls on her?
I think so, yes. I think that she decided quite consciously to divert more money from the budget for the poor and also for picking company winners, as opposed to, for instance, getting things fixed. And she could also have invited private investment in infrastructure. She did not.
What is her strategy going to be in the coming weeks? Because this is a very big election. She's going to get on the speaking tour and talk about her key points. How is she going to win the voters' support back?
I hope she will admit that things are not very good and promise that the future will be better. And also, as I say, I think that she will appeal to some kind of average experience of the last dozen years and not put too much emphasis on the last couple of years. Whereas Aecio Neves will probably say, thank you, but we can do so much better if we have a change of course. So in a sense, it'll be change either way, I think. But with Rousseff mostly defending her record and Aecio Neves attacking it.
I mean, if you were voting for Neves, is that really more of a vote for him or really against the current establishment?
Right. I think there are a lot of people who will vote for Aecio who would have voted for Marina Silva anyway, simply as a rejection vote. So there is discontent, and I think that whoever runs against the incumbent will channel that. But it's not enough. They have to get those who would have voted for the one who came in third place. So whether she decides to endorse either one or not at all will be an important factor.
And, you know, we cover a lot on the economics in South America, and obviously this is huge. Explain to our viewers around the world why this is so critical to the continent and possibly to the global economy.
Well, Brazil is one of those big engines of the world. And the fact that it's been mostly turned off or not, you know, moving much is a factor that has contributed not just to South America's relatively poor performance, but also to the world's. As you know, whether it's Japan or Europe or Latin America, those regions are not growing very fast. So it's a problem. It'd be great for Brazil to get out of this slump one way or another.
Oh, it's a very, very big economy. Arturo Porzecanski, thank you very much from American University. Great to see you here, and thank you for your insights.
A pleasure.